Wara nofsinhar tajb bibs li miżi. Il-tnejn filgħaxija fis-seba' ta' filgħaxija bħal-soltu Talking Sliema hawnhekk llum għandna lil xi ħadd għandna Roger Walker li miegħu se nkunu qegħdin nitkellmu fuq il-karriera ta' Roger se nsiru nafu daqsxi waħda żied lil Roger barra l-futbol ukoll u l-istejjer dawk l-istejjer li kienu jiġru dak iż-żmien anke fid-dressing room, you know. It's going to be a good laugh, I say. Good afternoon, Roger.
Good afternoon, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, thank you. Very obviously, I'm doing the introductions. Very obviously, we're expecting comments, you know. And we're going to discuss, I was telling them, you know, Roger out of the playing field, you know, and how he was, how he got to be the player that we all knew. Very obviously, the discussion has already started even before the program.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's going to keep on going.
Yeah.
Please bear with me a little bit every now and then. Very obviously, I need to switch to Maltese, you know, for our supporters. Not most of them, all of them speak English, very obviously, and they will understand what I'm saying. But since we're Maltese, you know, we do our things in Maltese as well. So, the sponsors, importantissimi, and them group. Cozy Rooms, Convenience Shop, Bet, Eurosport, Kia Motors, MAA Daikin, St. James Hospital, fl-aħħar, mhux l-inqas, Zarb Coaches u, ovvjament, in-numri ta' Lightband, BOVP u Revolut dawk dejjem qegħdin hemmhekk għax every little helps. Dik id-daqsxejn dejjem hemmhekk. Il-YouTube page tagħna li dejjem infakkarkom fiha, nfakkarkom illi il-lejla dan il-kontenut ikun qiegħed anke fuq YouTube tuni daqsxejn ċans kif nasal id-dar ovvjament nibda ntella il-kontenut fuq YouTube. Ħaġa oħra importantissima l-sponsors dawk huma n-nies li qegħdin jinvestu fil-klab tagħkom. Hekk ikolkom bżonn xi ħaġa li jagħmlu dawn in-nies priorità għal xiex le. La dawn huma n-nies li qegħdin jinvestu fit-tim tagħkom. Mela, without any further ado, once again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You found your way to the club.
Yeah, I found my way to the club. Found it straight away.
It was some time.
It's been some time since I've been in this clubhouse, and it sends a lot of memories,
Sure.
good memories of when I was
Sure.
playing here.
Sure.
You know.
Well, actually, I always say this is the nicest room in Sliema, you know? And people usually agree with me.
Incredible.
With all the silverware that there is. Kevin Podge, give the ball to Roger and he will score, yes? Yes, Roger was that. Roger was that.
They use my assets extremely well. That's what I can say.
But, okay, let's give some numbers, you know, so that we'll go even a little bit crazier. Roger, born 15 November, I'm not going to say the year, okay? So
No,
that
better
I'll
not,
spare
no,
you
no.
that. I'll spare you
Okay,
that.
spare me that.
I'll spare you that, okay? He started his career with Bolton Wanderers, and in 1987, he moved, he did the best thing that he could do in his life, he moved to Sliema. You know, he spent some seasons until season 1991, and during that stint, he played 55 games and he scored 18 goals. Then he came again in 2001, and he just stayed for one season. He played with Sliema for 16 games that year, and he scored 2 goals. So prolific, very prolific. Who's that?
I still can't remember where these 2 goals were from when I played in my second stint at Sliema. I'd love to see them.
Oh, we'll try to find even when they were scored.
If you
Okay,
haven't scored,
I will
you
try to
haven't
find them
scored.
for you,
Okay.
and I will send them to you. So, Roger, how did this kid, you know, start playing football?
Would you believe it was my brother?
Seriously, he
My
pushed
brother.
you.
It was my brother. My brother was about 5, 6 years of age. No, 7 years of age, and I was about 2.
Okay.
And I started kicking my mother's cushions around the front room. That's how it started. Then he got me out in the backyard
Okay.
and started kicking the ball, passing it and receiving the ball. And it started from there from the age of 2, 3 years of age.
My God.
And obviously the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
I kept my eye on the World Cup. I was 3, going on 4 years of age in 1970. And I saw the last 5 minutes of the World Cup
Okay.
and I saw Pele, and that was it.
Okay.
As soon as I saw
You
Pele,
fell in
I
love.
said, that was it. Everything else is history.
Yeah.
Everything else is history.
You remember your first Edwin Gauci? Hi, Roger, buddy. Russo.
Through Russia, that's cool, yeah. I remember that very well.
Yeah, Russo. So, do you remember your first training session at Bolton?
Yeah, I do.
Seriously, how was it? Hey, tell me the emotion of this kid, you know, going for his first training session.
Well, in England, as you all know, we have to actually go through trial periods.
Okay.
Okay. And when I had my first training session with Bolton, are you talking in context of me being a schoolboy or playing professional?
I think from where I'm standing, I think it's more of the schoolboy part.
Schoolboy part.
You know, the excitement. You know,
The
you're getting into, you know?
When they asked me to come on trial at Bolton, I had at least 3 to 4 of the football clubs who were looking at me at the time. And they looked at me and said, this boy is skinny as a rake. I mean, what's this guy got? And obviously I was extremely nervous, and I was playing at Burnden Park, and we were playing a friendly match, and it was a trial match. And the coach said to me, Roger, you normally play as a centre forward, but I want you to play at centre half.
Okay.
I played at centre half, and I had a very, very good game. And in fact, I scored in that game as well. And I was nervous, don't get me wrong, but as time went on,
You get
my confidence and my composure started to actually kick in, and I had a very, very good game.
But there was a time when you realized, actually said, okay, this might actually be my full time.
Well, I had two pathways.
Okay.
It was going to be either professional football, or I was going to be going into athletics.
Athletics, okay.
And a lot of people don't realise this, because I qualified for the Greater Manchester Championships in the 400 metres, and I qualified for the English schools. And also I won the long jump. So I was nominated to represent Greater Manchester in the English schools athletics.
Okay.
But I didn't go.
You didn't go?
It was
You
either professional football or it was going to be athletics. I had to make the choice.
You did not even want to take that risk, you know, of getting hooked with it.
I'm going to be honest with you, the training was damn hard, running.
Yeah.
But it helped me with my football. And my athleticism on the field itself got me out of trouble in more than one occasion when I was playing in England.
Yeah.
You know?
Renato Vellassi is one of the great foreigners that we had playing with our great team.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to agree, Renato. I mean, I was talking with Roger just before the start of the program about one particular goal that I remember very fondly, but we'll come to it as well. We'll come to it. So we're progressing, you know, we're getting bigger, because the skinny boy now is not skinny anymore, and Bolton probably are giving you even more chance. How was it? How was professionalism? A Maltese player sometimes cannot really understand what professionalism is. What is professionalism in England, particularly?
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Basically, if you can't, your family members are going out to a party, we have to stay at home.
Yeah.
We have to stay at home and rest. Example, Christmas Eve. Most of my family members are going out. I have to stay at home because on Christmas Day, we'll most probably with the family. Boxing Day, we're playing.
Yeah.
Then we would actually have a day off. Then we go back into training again. Then we have to prepare for New Year's Day. And it's extremely difficult. But if you are a professional and you understand that these sacrifices have to be made and your discipline is there as well, your success in the future will actually be there. One of the biggest problems which a lot of football players had at that time is refraining from going out. The drinking culture at that time in the 80s, 90s is not what it's like now today. It was a drinking culture.
I think it was worse at that time.
Yeah, it was.
It was worse at that time, the drinking culture. having said that, I think this is phenomenal what we're talking about here, because this is something that I always talk about with even the kids at nursery, you know, when I tell them, guys, you're training a whole week. You know what it means to take one shot. That one shot, whatever you've done during that week is lost, practically, you know, and they can't understand that. They can't understand that. From a physical trainer like you, how does the body react to that shot of whatever spirit it is, after you have trained for a whole week?
It sends you backwards. It does send you backwards, and your immune system can get affected by it as well. And if you have got an addictive nature, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. You've seen players of the past, like George Best, like Paul Gascoigne, and as an example, he had so many friends in Newcastle, but he didn't have so many friends when he was actually on Skid Row, and he was in real trouble as well. That's when you really actually pick these people out. And no, it's quite prevalent. It was quite prevalent that alcoholism in professional football in England was a bit of a problem.
Joe Camilleri, nice to see you again. Roger, keep up the good work. Nice to see you, Joey, here. Pierre Muscat, Peanuts, always here. Peanuts always here, man. He's always here. Good striker, Roger. Well, yeah, Peanuts, not a good striker, excellent striker. Come on. I mean, give him his dues, the guy. Come on. So, is there one particular game with Bolton that you will remember, and why?
Yeah.
Why was that?
It was Cambridge United, and it was my first official debut. I scored in that game.
Okay.
Made 2 more of the goals, and I got man of the match. You know what the downside is?
What?
It's the same day the Bradford fire disaster happened.
Come again?
In 1985, 86.
Okay.
I'm not exactly, I think it's 1985.
You're throwing away your age, huh?
Ah, don't care. I'm not gonna, they know exactly how old I am anyway, so sorry. 1985, I played my first league match against Cambridge United, and we won the game 3-1. Sam Allardyce was playing in the game as well at centre-half. And after that game, the reports came out that Bradford and the Bradford fire disaster, the whole one piece of the stand went up in flames. And I said to myself, this is a bad omen, this, because I scored a goal. I got man of the match in the game, and this happens. So all the focus was on the Bradford fire disaster and anything else. And I said, this is an omen, this doesn't look good at all, unfortunately. And unfortunately, we had 52 people actually died.
I'm remembering just a few scenes of it, actually, you know. It was horrific, actually. It was horrific, actually. Then you started, why you had to move out of Bolton? It was a decision that you sort of, you know, you wanted to explore yourself, you wanted to improve maybe, and you wanted to test yourself even outside of the England.
It's an interesting question, because a lot of people have asked me the same question on why did you leave England when I did, because I could have quite easily returned back and got a professional career at Rotherham United Football Club as an example. But I decided to go abroad, and you know the reason why? Because the style of the football which they were playing in England. I hated it. It was kick and rush football. Whereas when I was playing on the continent, it was more composure on the ball, more on technique. And I think that is part of the reason why England struggled so much in the late 70s, 80s to actually qualify for major tournaments. And as you can see now, England...
That has changed.
It's completely and utterly changed.
It's changed.
Technique, working on small-sided games, working on the players' health and fitness. That's what we can see now.
Massive speed.
It's a huge change. Huge change.
It is incredible sometimes. You're watching a football match, a Premier football match, you know. It is incredible sometimes. You see the speed, you know, of the ball traveling. And
it's frightening. It is frightening.
How the hell are they thinking? They can't. They really can't, you know.
It's conditioning more than anything else. And the conditioning of these players is quite overwhelming.
It is
overwhelming.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes, so that was one of the main reasons why I actually left. England was because of the style of football.
My God.
And ironically, the rest of my career, I played abroad.
Yeah.
Played abroad.
Yeah.
I went back to England to go and play in the non-league. I played for Horwich RMI for a season itself, and in between I was going on trial at Preston North End as an example.
Okay.
But no, it didn't really appeal to me to actually go back and play in England, even though I had colleagues who I played with and I played against who were playing at Sheffield Wednesday and playing at Nottingham Forest.
Okay.
I decided to stay where I was. You know, everything else is history.
Switzerland was your next move?
Yeah, yeah.
And how was it? How was football there?
Well, Switzerland was a big game changer for me for many reasons. And as you can see, the Swiss at the moment, Switzerland, they're now in the top 20.
Yeah.
I learned.
They have improved big time.
I have learned a lot from when I actually played in Switzerland. And, you know, when I played here in Malta and I played as a striker, I told them straight, I am not a striker, but I will play out of goal.
Yeah.
I'll play out of position.
Yep.
When I played abroad, I played as a CDM, played as a centre half, played at right back, and played at left back. Never as a forward.
Actually, I think that
crazy.
those kinds of players nowadays.
I was a utility player.
Yeah, exactly. Those kinds of players nowadays are very looked after. You know, because coaches would want a player that you know that Roger can fit there. I mean, I side with Juventus. Juventus, they have Danilo. This player, he can play defender, a central defender, midfielder, you know.
Yeah.
And you know that he's going to give you a good six every time, you know. And that, okay, let's go to the Carlos Groomed. Carlos, remember your first goal in Malta came from my pass. That's when you became a player. That's what Carlos always says. That's what Carlos always says.
Was it against Floriana?
I remember Carlos over here.
He'll answer me now.
Yes,
Carlos.
he will. Just give him a minute. But I remember Carlos over here, you know, just before the program, and we were talking about players, you know, and you came up and he told me, I made him a player, that guy, you know, I gave him.
I never lived that down. No, Valletta.
Okay, Carlos, okay.
All right, Valletta.
Ivan Borch, we mill-aħjar barranin li kenna, il-ġiri li kien jiġri, yes, I mean, the speed that Roger was very well known for. Okay, let's go again to mention the sponsors, which are always very, very important for the club. NM Group, Cozy Rooms, Convenience Shop, Eabet, Eurosport, Kia Motors, MAA Daikin, St. James Hospital, u f'aħħar mhux l-inqas Zart Coaches, u mbagħad hemm dawk in-numri tal-Iben, BOV Mobile Pay u Revolut, dejjem ngħidilkom l-istess ħaġa, every little helps, u du nota tagħhom dawk in-numri u kif ikolkom ċans ibgħatu dik ix-xaġa żgħira. Qasti idea m'għandkom kemm tagħmel differenza. Ovvjament infakkarkom ukoll fil-YouTube page tagħna, il-YouTube page li qiegħda tikber u tatina daqxie waħda żjed kif naqbad ngħid leverage. Meta mmorru għand xi sponsor u ngħidu ara l-impressions li għandna. One towards Carlos, I was telling you, you know, as well. We'll organize one of these programs, you know, we'll get you guys all together, you know, you, Carlos, Martin, you know, and a few of the guys, you know. It will be. And we'll talk very obviously about football and those days, you know, especially the jokes in the dressing room, because that is, I think, something that every player misses, you know, when retired.
A bit of Bayenta.
Yes. So, back to us, and how did Sliema happen then?
Oh, okay. I was playing in Sweden at the time.
Okay.
I was playing for a local side in the northeast of Sweden, and the place was called Örnsköldsvik. The team was called Friska Viljor. I don't think that actually exists any longer, to be honest with you. And it was the northeast of Sweden where I was actually.
It's already a feat that you remember the name properly, actually.
I can't remember how to speak Swedish, unfortunately. And I was having my second season out there, and a colleague I used to play with at Bolton, and I played local football with, his name was Roy Cogill, and he played with the Sliema Wanderers for about, say, a season.
Okay.
And he said to me that, Roger, listen, I don't think I'm going to be returning back to Malta because I'm going to return back to England. Would you like to take my place? I said to him, well, over the next 2 or 3 months, I'm going to be going on trial to various football clubs back in England. I said to him, why not? Give it a try. So he said to me, what I'll get to do, I will send you a message with telephone number of the individual you need to speak to. And in fact, he got in contact with Messina Ferranti before he left to go back to the UK while we were living in Sweden. Messina Ferranti got in contact with me while I was in England and asked me various questions on when we can get the flight out to come out and we can actually have a look at you. And I arrived from Sweden on Wednesday. I got the telephone call on Thursday.
Okay.
I was flying out here to Malta on Friday. And I got here on Saturday. I got here on Friday, and then they processed me at the Floriana police station for my visa. I can't remember this right to this day. And then they drove me home. And then on Sunday, I was registered.
Okay.
And I played the first league match, and we played against Mostar.
Okay, and you remember that one?
And then with Mostar, we beat them 2-0, but I was still jet lagged. I was so tired.
Seriously? But you played?
I played.
Yes.
But I was not in my right state.
Of course,
I was
obviously.
knackered. I was knackered.
But what was your first impression at that point, about the football in Malta? I mean, you coming from Sweden, you had your experience with Bolton, you had, I mean, it must have been an awe, The football in Malta is?
Let me understand. When I came out here to Malta, there was not a lot explained to me exactly about the league program.
Okay.
When I actually came over here, and everyone explained to me exactly what the structure was.
Okay.
That you play every 2 weeks, or even you play a game in a month.
Yeah.
I had so much spare time on my hands. I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was trying to keep myself fit, be on the training ground itself. But again, we are 20, 30 years ago, and with the training methods and the training grounds itself was not what we have now. It was not AstroTurf, it was limestone. And if you fall on the floor, you leave your skin on the floor. And my knees were full of blood. And my elbows as well. You know what? It toughened me up as well.
Sure.
Something else, it actually improved my technique as well. My first touch, because that ball on the limestone surface, you pass the ball, it will deviate to the opposite, into opposite corner. You've got to keep your eye on the ball. So I had to adapt.
You said something, which is the first touch, which I think is not important. It's crucial for every player,
Oh, yeah.
And I think that we do not do. Look at that picture, with Martin Gregory and Carlos. So nice to see.
When I had hair, all those years ago, when I had hair.
When you had hair, yes. I was telling you, I think that the basics of football, sometimes don't you think that we miss them when we're teaching our kids these little things which are extremely important,
As a coach, I do this every day.
It's extremely important.
And I'm very fortunate that I'm able to actually demonstrate to the players and show to the players certain aspects on how you can improve your technique. When I came to Sliema Wanderers, my technique was shocking.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that right now, I'm going to be honest. And most probably Martin Gregory's going to have a laugh when he hears this as well. And Carlos Cluett as well. But it's true, my technique was shocking. Over the years, while I was playing with Sliema and then moved over to Switzerland, they emphasised on technique. And that's where your quality as a football player will improve as time goes on. And they were right. They were right. And I keep working on my technique right to this day.
Again, when you're starting, you started, so your first game was against Mostar, During that season, was there a game that you remember, you know? I mean, apart from the game against Valletta where Carlos made you a player, you know?
Carlos made me a player. Rubbish. The game I remember more than anything else was against Floriana, the Floriana game. And I think at half time, me and Martin had an altercation in the change rooms at half time. And I was going to kill him. And he wanted to rip my head off as well at the same time. And you know what? Ever since then,
Yeah.
buddy.
You know
I have
what?
a lot of time for
you know what
Martin.
happens when two men, you know, come across. You know, then
Incredible.
you realize that is the kind of person that you want to be associated with. Actually, actually, it's always like that.
Yeah.
With all the success that you had in Maltese football, you know, I mean, I remember you putting the ball in front of you, you know, and no one could reach you, you know. I mean, your athleticism. My God, my English is going wire. You know, your athletic. I don't want to say it again. It was striking. You know. Do you think that today Roger would do the same in Maltese football?
I would do that more.
You think so?
No, I know so.
Because of the training methods, you mean you would have
Training methods which I had. And not only that, the fact is that it was embedded in me that I had athleticism and I would take advantage of it, even for that matter when I was doing athletics. In England, you have a lot of athletes who actually play professional sport. And for me personally, athletics, the 100, the 200 meters, the 400 meters, not only gave me stamina, but it also gave me power and strength.
Yep.
But that power and strength did not compute with the technique and technical side of the game, which for me, when I was playing in England, playing for Bolton Wanderers at the time, they didn't work hard enough on these aspects of my game. When I went abroad, when I played in Malta, I had to slow down.
yes.
So I'm able to have control over the ball.
Yeah. It was a totally different ball
It was
game.
a completely
literally.
different ball game itself.
Yeah.
But then when I left Malta to go and play in Switzerland and expected to use that kind of strength and power against the Swiss opposition,
You can't.
I can't do it.
You can't.
I had to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I duly did. I used my strength and power in the areas of the game which will help me, but it will help the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had to adapt my game.
But even before the program, we were talking about this particular goal that I remember just a little bit just outside of the box, you know, where you shot. But he told me, actually, it's not that my favorite goal. You know, what was your favorite goal? Just remind me.
The best goal, in my opinion, I scored was the goal against Dukla Prague. And it was from a free kick. And the defenders were 6'2", 6'3". But I was able to out-jump them and head the ball into the top right-hand corner of the net. And that, for me, is a better goal than the one which I scored against Tirana. Because that just, I mean, I just wanted to just attack them.
Yes.
And try anything. And it flew off the top, off my laces and went in the top corner. Even I couldn't believe it myself.
I was there.
But yeah, I couldn't believe it. But out of the two goals, the one which I meant is the header. I really enjoyed that one because of the fact of the circumstances what we're in at the time.
And the international matches usually are those matches that you remember always with. Is it this one that you remember most fondly? Or was there another one maybe that we went through, or maybe, you know?
This one against Dukla Prague, especially because against Dukla Prague, they made an offer to actually buy me as well. When I was over in the Czech Republic at the time, and we played the game, and we lost the game at 2-0. I scored our own goal, would you believe it, off the corner.
Okay.
But we were frozen out of the game. They were well organised, and they played around us as if we hardly saw the ball itself. But I played in midfield in the first game against Loka Prague. But in the second game, I played further forward as a target man. But we hardly touched the ball itself. They were in total control of the game. And they made an offer for me to actually be transferred from Sliema to Loka Prague, but it was turned down anyway.
Okay.
They weren't going to let me go.
You were too important for us.
No, they weren't going to let me go.
Yeah, you were too important for us.
They weren't going to let me go.
Your league, the league that you have won, what do you remember about that particular league?
It was the most difficult game, the hardest game I remember playing was when we played against Hamrun. And I scored the first goal from a header, from a cross coming out from the left. And I think if I remember rightly, that cross came in
Carlos.
from... Not from Carlos, this is the game against Hamrun, not from Valletta. If I remember right, the cross came in from Simon Gregg. And I went to the near post, then backtracked and headed the ball, and I went into the bottom corner. And I think it was a shock to Hamrun's system. They weren't expecting it, but it's the way in which we played and how we attacked them. And we held our resolve in every part of the pitch itself. That game, out of all the games, sticks out, that win against Hamrun, and which led us to actually win the title as well that same year.
Then you went for greener pastures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you came back. What happened? Why you came back? You thought that maybe there was something else that you needed to give?
No, well, I had several opportunities to go and play back in Italy, playing Serie B.
Oh, that would have been.
And even for that matter, go back to England and play in the first division or the championship, because it's going to be my last time I'm going to be able to actually play as a professional in a high division. And even for that matter, I was going to go on trial at Birmingham City. But I went on trial at Huddersfield, and it didn't pan out that way. And secondly, my wife, Christine, who was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And the last thing she wanted to do is to be traveling again. She wanted to settle. So I did the honourable thing by
being a man.
Being a man and return back to Malta. And she turned me into a house husband. I looked after the two boys.
Thank you, Christine.
Jacob and Sam.
Well, and Jacob, I saw him last...
in the last game against Sliema.
I saw him, so I'm not going to ask you how he's doing. I don't want to ask you about that. But do they have the same passion that you had for football?
Jacob, definitely. And in some respects, I don't want to be one of these fathers who's going to be...
Important. That's very important, I guess.
Stifling him or even suffocating him. If he wants advice, I will give it to him. If he needs any help in regards to what he can do in regards to improving his game, I'll give him the technical details. But I'm not one of these parents who are constantly going to be putting him under pressure.
But what kind of player is he? He's
a utility player, believe it.
Okay.
He's just like me.
But he's more a Maltese player in the sense of even the structure, or he's more like you, where the...
He's got my genes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got my genes. He's got the pace and the speed. What he's doing now is building himself up, putting on more muscle, and it's working. And it seems to me as if he's got his bit in between his teeth, and he wants to improve as a player. And you do get late bloomers in professional football as well, you know. And he's blossoming.
Back to you. How did you realize that it was time to hang up boots?
Injuries.
I mean, seriously?
Injuries. Soreness after a game. Achilles tendon start giving me problems. First thing in the morning, I get up and I'm walking around and it's very sore. I had a number of injuries while I was playing football. The worst one I have suffered was my lumbar, the lower back.
Okay.
I've broken my leg. I've had knee surgery, but this pain, 4 herniated discs in my back.
Lord.
It is debilitating to say the least. But that is the reason why I'm a fitness instructor.
That helps you to...
It helped me.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of stretching, a lot of Pilates for the core area.
Yeah.
So I am restricting the possibility of getting myself injured again.
But why not coaching? Why into fitness more? Why?
I'm doing both.
You're doing both.
I'm doing both. I'm doing both.
Okay.
I'm coaching as well as that. And the great thing is the fact that since I've had experience of playing football, and as well as that I've had experience in injuries as well, I can give details in how to speed up the recovery and quicker as well at the same time.
How does Roger Walker rate Roger Walker as a coach?
At the moment, I'm still learning, mate.
Okay.
I'm always learning, and I keep my feet firmly on the floor. It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult, and my heart goes out to all coaches out there who are having problems with the teams, whatever. It's man management, it's the organisation of the club. There's many factors within the club structure that the coach himself, and with the philosophy of the coach and the philosophy of the club will make waves and make steps in the right direction.
There are two messages that I'd really like to mention. Hugh Caruana, watching a great striker. I think he was your coach, yeah?
Yes.
Hugh, nice to see you here. It's always a pleasure seeing you here. Let me even mention Leonard Kelder. Leonard is the person that... Leonard. You see this paper here. Yeah. That's Leonard.
That's Leonard already.
Yes, that's Leonard. And I cannot thank him enough. Leonard, thank you very much.
He even remembers.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. He heard us talking about him and he found the numbers. Yes, Roy Kogel played one season for Sliema, 86-87, scored 3 goals in 9 appearances and 3 goals in the FA Trophy, 4 matches. Rogers, in what season did you make your Bolton senior debut? Leonard is asking. Leonard, once again, I cannot thank you enough because very obviously it is always very nice to be prepared, but I cannot be prepared without you, man. So thanks 1,000,001 times.
It was Cambridge United, 1985. I can't remember the month itself, but it was Cambridge United when I made my debut.
When you scored two goals?
When I scored 1 goal and I made 2 goals. And I was man of the match in that game.
But we were
it was the same day.
The Brentford.
At the Bradford fire disaster.
Bradford. Yeah, Bradford.
Fire disaster. That same day.
So, Leonard, you can update your statistics because I'm more than sure that Leonard is going to update.
He's going to be looking. He's going to be looking straight away.
Once again, thank you, Leonard. So, what does Roger want to do when he grows up?
He's grown up already.
No, you're still young. Come on.
I'm grown up. I want to continue with my education in professional football. I want to continue. I'm always learning all the time. I'm watching modern game football all the time on the screen, and it amazes me. It amazes me to see exactly what these guys are achieving. Right now, I'm keeping my eye on one team, and that team is Nottingham Forest for one reason.
Okay.
One, because of the fact that I see that they are playing some absolute brilliant football. But 2, they played against Liverpool, and I saw them in the FA Cup. And they are very unfortunate that they actually lost to Liverpool because they stretched Liverpool to the limit.
Okay.
Now I'm looking at them, and they play tomorrow night. They play their next game against Fulham. And I'm keeping in my opinion, I think Nottingham Forest will beat Fulham in the next league match.
Okay.
Fulham have already been promoted.
So now, because of you, I have to follow.
Keep an eye on Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
Keep an eye on Forest.
So that I see good football because I like good football. Patrick Nicol.
All right, Pat. How you doing, mate?
I like seeing him here as always. Patrick is a very good friend of mine. But most of all, he's an amazing football lover actually. Leonard Kelder, I'll check that. Roger, thank you. So, we'll spin it off. I mean, it's been 40 minutes that we've been talking, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed every second.
I really enjoyed it as well.
I enjoyed every second of it. So, I thank you very much for being here with us for these few minutes. As I told you, the intention is to fix this thing up. You know? You guys putting you together somewhere, you know, and talking about football, you know, and trying to put a nice feature together, you know, and give it a nice love.
Oh, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you.
I don't know you guys, but I have to switch to Maltese again. Ma nafx intom, you know, I enjoyed every single second of this, you know. And since we are from Sliema, we can handle and speak in English, actually.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, so every now and then throwing it back in English, you know, it's fine. It's fine because we can, you know. You know, ma nafx intom, ma jina ħadd gost ħafna nitkellem ma' Roger. Il-ġimgħa d-dieħla nistiequ li nerġgħu nagħmlu xi ħaġa oħra, xi ħadd ieħor mill-passat. Jiena Rupert Perry, Terence, nirringrazzjak ħafna li dejjem ikun qiegħed miegħi hawnhekk li mingħajru ma nkun nista' nagħmel assolutament xejn. Jiena insellmilkom, Roger, good night.
Thank you.
Good night to every one of you. See you next week at 7 o'clock talking Sliema. Rupert Perry insellmilkom. Ciao.